Okay, so Josh here with Singular. We're at my corn, and honestly, I've had a lot of questions the last 10 days. I posted on my Instagram here on my story, airplane flying on foliar pass. A lot of people are like, hey, what's in there? And then what's the return on investment on that application? So here's the way I view an application of product. And this is something that I've really been told and have adopted on my farm and operation. So a plant, in this case corn, starts with a massively high threshold of yield potential. I mean, the high yield growers have exceeded 600 bushel an acre corn. So we know that plants are fully capable of producing insanely high yields. And so we start out at the beginning of the season, we talk about this on the podcast, early on the plant has massive amounts of potential, and everything plays into the degradation and the decline of yield in that crop. So you've got, say you've got a cold snap early on, you've got this high threshold of, hundreds of bushel, and that brings it down. Then we have, say we don't get some rain, or maybe we get, like this year, we got too much rain, or our fertility program wasn't balanced properly, and so we lose more yield potential, and more, and down we go. We've turned off, we're in 100 and some degrees now, and the rain seems to have shut off. We've got a good looking crop here, and so it's a matter of what can we do to decrease or to slow that decline now. So how, instead of, oh crap, these plants are really stressed now, and then just boom, tanking, we did last year. Last year was a terrible drought here in eastern Kansas. How can we slow that down as much as we can? So I ran a melted urea, fulvic acid, a little bit of humic, some kelp extract for hormone production, ran a little bit of macronutrients, and then some micros as well. The macros and micros to help with kernel development, kernel depth in the ear, kernel quality, things of that nature. The kelp is to tell the plant, hey, slow down, it's okay, relax, don't panic quite yet, be more conservative with your water and your nutrients. And then the melted urea and the fulvic was to get some nitrogen into the plant. So right now, as we fill these ears, we're pulling a tremendous amount of nitrogen. A lot of people think that nitrogen is crucial early on. It's actually not. One of the most detrimental things that we've seen is too much nitrogen too early. Your plant gets plugged, it gets overdosed on nitrogen, it doesn't pull any of the other nutrition in, or I shouldn't say any, but so much less of the important nutrients, your phosphorus, your potassiums, your so on and so forth. But anyway, with that said, so we ran some melted urea, which is very, very plant available and very plant efficient, with fulvic, and a little bit of humic to buff some salt, and we ran that as a foliar with the airplane. That gets into the plant. We ran it early in the morning, very early in the morning, as early as we could, when the plant stomatas were still open. With the heat of the day, the hotter it gets, those plants close up, they go into protection mode. We wanted to get that nutrition into the plant when it was still the cool of the day, and those plants are absorbing nutrition the best that we can. Anyway, so we put that on the crop. The crops, instead of now turning hot and dry and pulling lots of water, because it takes water to cycle nutrients out of the ground up into the plant, into the ear, the plant will pull forms of nutrition from the most beneficial place possible in most cases. So if we've got a good shot of nitrogen that's very plant available in the leaves, it's going to become more available. The plant's going to say, hey, we've got a lot right here. Let's be as efficient as we can. If we have, I say, train up a plant in the way it should grow to the best we can. We're going to pull this nitrogen, say, from this leaf right here, feed it to the ear, and so on and so forth. That way, we're not burning lots and lots of water, pulling that nutrients out of the ground and going up into the plant. So it's to help with water consumption in the soil, to help draw out the plant life as long as we can, hopefully catch another rain. It's an efficient form of fertility to get into the plant. We can talk another time about plant nitrogen and other nutrient efficiencies. We talk about a lot that all the time on the podcast. But that was, so instead of, hey, what was the bushels added or the yield gained, it's more, we're trying to curve the decline of yield further. So as we have 100, say we have a 180 bushel crop that becomes 160, and then we miss another rain, and that 160, we start losing sight of it. It turns to 140, 130, so on and so forth. And it just goes down, down, down until it's time to roll the combines in the field. So we're trying to slow that decline as much as we can and retain as much of the ear, kernels, etc. quality as possible so that we still produce the best crop that we can.